Welcome to the award ceremony for the Space Security Challenge 2020, or Hackasat. I'm your host, Jordan Wines. Instead of teasing you like last time, let's get right to the results. We closed the scoreboard yesterday, just before the game's end, and there were multiple sols that occurred after the scoreboard went dark. How did that impact the rankings? Our top 3 winners of prizes are... Dr. Upperbread, you won't be able to hear this. This is just... Congratulations to our top prize-winning teams. PFS for taking home the $50,000 grand prize, Poland Can into Space, who definitely can, for their $30,000 prize, and hopefully an epic moonshot we'll see later in the broadcast, and Flux Repeat Rocket for their $20,000 prize. We know the technical challenges these teams faced in this event were unlike any they've seen before, and we're glad to be able to reward them with hard-earned prizes for their efforts. However, as you may remember, the on-orbit section was one of the most important goals of the competition. It's one of the things that made this event special. We needed a way to incentivize teams, and making the on-orbit challenge pass or fail for prize eligibility was one of the most effective ways to do that. Space is unique. No one person is an expert in all of its aspects. We wanted to ensure that the CTF and hacking community grew in their capabilities relevant to space. The on-orbit portion required an expertise in math that is unique. Of course, this being in 2020, our worst fears came to reality. The highest scoring team was one of those impacted negatively by not having an on-orbit solution in time. Let's take a look at the final scoreboard. And you can see those scores that I mentioned occurring after the scoreboard went dark. They were by Solaris Wind, one of 2 teams that did not have an accepted solution for the on-orbit challenge, and thus, unfortunately, they're ineligible for the final prize pool. However, the Hackasat organizers all feel for the impact that this had on Solaris Wind, and we hope they can take pride in several notable accomplishments. First, while there has not been an announced Hackasat 2 edition, I would personally expect that if such an event occurred, much in the DEF CON CTF tradition, the highest scoring team from the previous finals would automatically qualify for the next event, and that would be Solaris Wind. Second, the official scoreboard submitted to CTF time will reflect the points total at the end of the game. As on-orbit was merely for prize eligibility, we expect it will not impact standings on CTF time. Finally, I want to describe some of the drama that happened at the end of the day yesterday. Most teams were running low on power and needed to be taken off the carousel. Solaris Wind was one of only 2 teams that stayed online, and they were able to capitalize on it. Not only did they successfully solve Challenge 4, which required a ton of work building a custom bootloader to re-enable GPIO on the payload module, but additionally, they blazed ahead and solved Challenge 5 just before the competition closed as well. Now, there were 2 ways to solve in Challenge 5, a lower scoring option of just taking any photo, and a higher scoring option of taking a photo of the moon in the room. Solaris Wind quickly snapped a photo to prove they could control the camera, and they tried to properly orient for a different photo. They don't even know it, but their last commands relayed to the satellite 2 minutes before the game ended took a photo that they never got to see as the game ended, and we're going to show it to them now. As you can see, the moon is visible there on the left, just to the right of the logos. So, while they did not successfully get this final photo back in time before the game ended, they now know that they did achieve success in all of the Earth-based goals that we laid out for them. Thanks again, Solaris Wind, for pushing so hard, continuing through the discouraging result of yesterday. And of course, speaking of that on-orbit challenge, I know we are all, and especially Poland Can into Space, looking forward to seeing the results. For that, we're going to go to Dr. Roper and Brett, whom you will remember from their keynote earlier in the event. Dr. Roper is the Air Force and Space Force Acquisition Chief, and Mr. Brett Goldstein is the Director of the Defense Digital Service. Gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes, we
You
can,
you can hear
Jordan.
me, and I can hear you. That's the important part. Take it away.
Awesome. Jordan, thanks so much to you and the entire team that have worked so hard to put on this event and keep everything moderated. And just a huge hats off to everyone who has participated in this inaugural foray of space into DEF CON. And Brett and I were talking earlier, we are just blown away by how far the community's come in just a few short weeks. We've made our own progress here. We have solved the lanyard challenge. So by just merely taking off the case, you can actually attach this. So problem solved. But the progress that has been made by these teams is much more impressive. And what I just left away is that this combination of needing to know orbital mechanics, antenna physics, as well as just good solid hacking skills is going to create some of the most interesting challenges for future DEF CONs to come. Brett, what do you think?
So my big question is this the second episode of Between Two Nerds?
Part 5?
Part 5. Or do you think we'll get syndicated?
Maybe. Okay. Zombies in space, we're ahead of the game.
We are. And as I think about my future in DoD, like I'm also thinking about my future in TV. So just, or this could be Meet the Nerds. Like there's a lot of potential here.
We'll hold on to our day jobs though.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, I just feel like I'm getting a lot of encouragement to get into this realm. But anyhow, so DEF CON has been awesome. So for everyone listening out there, great year. And I think about last year and I think about all that we did when Will and I went for the first time and the fact that we got DoD out there. And so proud. And a couple things stand out for me. But one of them's funny. So I had never been on Discord before. And y'all may be using Discord all the time, but isn't there something counterintuitive about you log on to Discord and then it sends you this random ass link that you're supposed to click? Like this is DEF CON. So super surprised by that. So I had to call up my friend Roro and I'm like, hey dude, do I click the link? And he's like, well, I guess so. Click. So hopefully that wasn't a bad click. But on a more serious note, what was really special about our efforts with Air Force and DDS is in our first day of doing everything, we had more traffic and more interactions than we did through the entire DEF CON last year, which is insane because like for all the folks from the team who did DEF CON last year, we were slammed. So the fact that we saw those sorts of interactions means we really got our act together this year. Virtual was awesome for us, and we're glad we're able to engage. But Will, Hackasat, what do you think?
Well, Brett, amazing success, amazing the amount of community that was able to be involved, and the feedback has been fantastic. The overwhelmingly people saying, I never knew that space was really accessible to me, where the equipment's affordable given my day job. And that's amazing to introduce that to this community. So we had over almost 13,000 people came to the Hackasat website this year. Almost 5,000 people came in through the VR site and over 130,000 social media views, which just tells me space is super interesting and something that's just been beyond grasp and hopefully seems a little more so now. And for the teams that were part of our quals, we were super excited in your interest. And for the teams who made it in the final, we're blown away by how quickly you adapted to these very difficult challenges. And I think we picked them right. They were solvable, but not easily so. And so to everyone involved, hats off. And especially just want to give a shout out to Solar Wind, the top overall scorer. I mean, kudos to you for sticking at it, for coming back and continuing to improve what you did. For PFS, congratulations on being the top winner. And again, just putting a lot of amazing solutions on the board. And Poland can into space. You stated your goal was to get into space, and you did with your Moonshot that we'll come to in a second. And I don't want to leave Flux Repeat Rocket out. You know, coming in, getting that 20K prize, putting up amazing tech across all these different challenges. We're just really proud of all of you. But what we want to end with is the Cyber Moonshot. which was more than just the name. Taking control of a satellite that is orbiting, having to restore normal operations after they've been disabled, having to understand orbital mechanics well enough to point a satellite that's meant to take a picture of the Earth to something that's 385,000 kilometers away and successfully get an image through what is very much a soda straw is a wicked hard challenge. But DEF CON and our first satellite Hackasat challenge needed no less than that. And so I am pleased to announce that Poland can into space, you can. Let's roll the video for your cyber moonshot.
All right, on screen is the moonshot for everyone to see. All right, back to you, Brett and Dr. Roper.
I think that video gives you a sense about how hard this challenge was. So for Poland can into space, how awesome is that? We're super proud of what you and what every participant accomplished this week in Hackasat and the Moonshot Challenge itself. Brett, that wasn't all that was going on in the aerospace village, and particularly components dealing with space.
True, but before we go there, so orbital mechanics. So if you were to define orbital mechanics, what would you say? Asking for a friend.
You're going to need a basic knowledge of Kepler's laws of motion. Everything's moving around in either an ellipse, a circle, a parabola, or a hyperbola, or a line, I guess, technically, to give the degenerate cases. So you need to know that stuff. You need to be able to model it numerically, and you also need to understand how to transpose different reference frames. So other than that, Brett, it's just simple math.
Got it. Kepler, degenerate, parabola. Got it. All good.
Kepler's your friend in space.
Got it. Okay. Kepler. Got it. So workshops. So workshops were awesome this year. And before we dive into some stats, I want to thank the team. So the DDS team with our Air Force friends, they worked night and day to make all of these streams happen. And all of the mechanics probably involved a little Kepler, parabola, lines, math, to make all of these different workshops happen on the Twitches. But in all seriousness, the team has been surging for months to make each one of these as real as possible. to keep it up, work the challenges, deal with drama up until the last minute. So amazing work. But we had 11 Twitch streams, and that was awesome from an educational point of view. But here's a big piece. Our first winner on all of the workshops was a 12-year-old, the Alpaca Club. So this 12-year-old out of nowhere came and crushed one of the workshops. And something as both as a dad, but also as a director of an innovation team, and then looking to one of our goals of training the future, a 12-year-old, again, the Alpaca Club, going and crushing it right off the bat was amazing. So we had these workshops. And from a traffic perspective, like we're looking at, we had over almost 2,500 visitors and 131 winners. And that is pretty impressive. But the good news for everyone listening out there is we're still playing today. So, and because everyone likes swag, keep playing, you win a shirt. You win a shirt. Swag wins. But these workshops were great. And one of the goals that Will and I had from the very beginning was have a very hard challenge like Hackasat, where people would, start and then it would get to a series of teams and get to the big win, the Moonshot. But we also wanted to work on training folks with everything from advanced to beginner level types of workshops. And I feel like we were able to deliver there. But it was pretty awesome. I don't know if you won yet, Will.
Well, I think everyone won for this. It's pretty amazing to see how far just members of our military have come from just a year ago. So we were there a little over a year ago with an F-15 hacking challenge, and it really did send a shock across the Pentagon with, wait a second, what are we doing? Cyber vulnerabilities are not things that we're supposed to expose. And I've seen a huge amount of progress for the organizations I represent, the Air Force and the Space Force, starting to realize that this community is one that we should have been a part of a long time ago, that we have so much to learn from you, and we have learned this week. And I'm looking forward to doing some debriefs with the teams and just hearing how you approach the challenges and what you think we can do better on, because we're designing satellites and airplanes every day, Brett. And these lessons we can put directly into new things that we design. We'd also like to hear how we can be better members of this community, because we're going to be back next year and we can do virtual events, we can do live hacking events. We want to know how we can make interesting opportunities relevant to our mission, something that really energizes this community where everyone learns. So, Brett, I think we all won with Hackasat this year.
I think we did too. And so the past 2 nights, we've done this Drinks with Devs, which has been pretty wild, because we just had a horde of our folks, and then a bunch of people who had been working on the workshops came in. And the good news from last night is we had a winner for DDSat. So Pina Triste, amazing work, good job. Came on the call last night, got the kudos there. So we've seen winners throughout the stack. I think this year really went well. The question is, what are we going to do next year?
Well, Brett, I have my own ideas, and we'll be discussing them for sure. We could go into AI, we could go into drones. We could let members of the community make a satellite that we could put up in orbit, and maybe you designed it more cyber secure than the way we do. But we want to hear from you. We should have been part of this community a long time ago, and I hope that you'll tell us how we can use opportunities like this so that having military members be part of the DEF CON community is not an unusual thing, but a really cool thing. So we're going to keep the websites open, and we hope that you will share your thoughts with us so that this time next year, hopefully when COVID-19 is behind us, and I hope everyone is safe till then, that we can do a live event that's awesome, but continue all the awesomeness that this virtual event has afforded. We have had so many more people participate. And Brett, I don't know, maybe we can talk about zombies again next year.
We could have a zombie challenge. If you can incorporate zombies into the challenge, I think you win.
It's good because, let's face it, Brett, after zombies run over the earth, we may be reliant on members of this community to download critical satellite data to know where they are.
I think we've uncovered something critical. But in all in all seriousness, even though everything does in fact come back to zombies, we want to hear from you. So we have ideas on what is hard. So the bar was raised really high this year. What's on your mind? We're all over Twitter. We have the Hackasat handle. We have Defense Digital for DDS. We have the websites up. We want to hear from you. We're still operating on Discord. We will through the day. We want to be involved in this community, not just for a few days during the summer, but all year long. So I personally, and I know Will as well, want to hear your hardest ideas. Bonus points for zombie interactions. But, you know, we want to hear them.
Yeah, get your style points somewhere, Brett. So, Brett, I don't know, from my view, what a successful conclusion. Again, congrats to all the teams. Continue learning from the websites that we have up. Let us hear from you. And hopefully by this time next year, we'll be on to the next great, amazing Capture the Flag Challenge and the next great set of workshops so that we all get smarter.
So for now, we're signing off from Between Two Nerds, Meet the Nerds, all the nerds, some of the nerds meet zombies. But everyone stay safe, love the interactions this year, and look forward to hearing more from you. Back to you, Jordan.
Thanks very much, Dr. Roper and Brett. From another nerd to two more. We appreciate your drive for making this event and the many other events related happen. Additionally, thanks very much to the Core Four, Amanda, Delia, John, and Steve. Finally, thanks to you, the audience, for spending your weekend with us. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of DEF CON, the Aerospace Village, the Defense Digital Service workshops, and all of the other happenings this weekend.